This is Epic Book Recaps, a podcast that offers complimentary audio summaries of influential nonfiction books, making learning a smarter experience. Entrepreneurial Negotiation by Samuel Dinnar, Lawrence Susskind. Two authors wrote Entrepreneurial Negotiation, teacher, consultant, and entrepreneur Samuel Dinnar and Lawrence Susskind, an experienced negotiator and professor of urban environmental planning at MIT. The authors began their book with a story of two ambitious but inexperienced entrepreneurs, Fallon and Fernando. Fallon had a business idea and needed a partnership to execute it. Fernando was the perfect co-founder. He was a business executive with experience in sales and marketing. With contributions from their agents, the two entrepreneurs met to discuss the business plan and what it meant for everyone on board. Like most co-founders, they disagreed on many things: the size of the market, equity stakes, and the likes. One disagreement that stood out among others was the portion of the company that will belong to Fernando if he decides to leave early. They had several exchanges before finally reaching a mutual agreement. Entrepreneurs do a lot of inventing without committing, enabling themselves to weigh their options. Fallon and Fernando launched their business and created value, serving their customers while at the same time searching for deals that would benefit them both. They continued to work together successfully until they made a mistake. Fernando talked his uncle into investing in their company, which allowed them to focus exclusively on the business as they could now pay themselves. However, the funds could only take them so far. A few months down the line, they found themselves needing more. This time, they approached a renowned angel investor. Luckily for them, the investor understood their vision and was ready to invest a reasonable sum, but the angel wanted a significant amount of the company in return. Fallon and Fernando were hesitant, but they reached a fair compromise over email after some struggles. However, the angel sent an agreement letter stating, among other things, they wanted veto power over the choice of future investors. This and other terms made Fallon uncomfortable. To avoid conflicts, they accepted the terms suggested by the angel, but after a while they could no longer agree. Finally, the investor left. They ran out of cash and had to lay off their workers. They shut the company down shortly afterward. This summary uses Fallon and Fernando's story to expose the fact that most startups fail when entrepreneurs make negotiating mistakes. It aims to help you reimagine entrepreneurship and keep you from making startup errors. Entrepreneurs are skilled at birthing ideas and getting others on board to transform those ideas into valuable products or services. They do their best to keep moving, even in the face of skepticism. Entrepreneurs interact with mentors and partners to adjust their vision and produce concrete business plans. Growing a business from scratch involves moving from a seed idea to an early-stage startup, and from there to a full-fledged company. This is always the case, even though it can vary slightly from business to business for several reasons. For every venture, the early stages of the entrepreneurship process pose new challenges and opportunities. However, entrepreneurs who know how to negotiate can always make magic happen. Entrepreneurs must persuade others that their ideas are valuable for creating a thriving company. If they don't know how to do this, they will struggle to get funding and buy-in from top talents and early adopters. The authors created the map of the entrepreneurial galaxy to guide entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs negotiate with key players in the stages of the entrepreneurship process. The relationships are grouped into 4 categories on 2 axes. The categories representing the 4 types of players are external backers, internal backers, internal frontline, external free entities or outsiders. The 2 axes are those who move from internal to external interactions. Those backing a company by investing money or working for the organization, including those who are the public faces of the company. You can tell that the entrepreneur is at the center of all these. The whole point of the map is to show you at a glance the categories of people you'll be dealing with as a business owner. Then, you can use the map to practice negotiating with each of these categories before your real-life experience. Did you know? Entrepreneur is a French word with English origins. As hinted in the previous chapter, the entrepreneurial galaxy is centered around the entrepreneur. Therefore, you would be in a critical spot if you had not taken the time to master negotiations. All the external players start as free outsiders. Then, some are brought in as backers as the company grows. External backers usually end up being appointed as directors or members of the advisory board and become stakeholders. Part of their function is to ensure the company has an effective strategy for market domination. External entities control some company dynamics, while the internal players create disruption, thrive on change, and adapt to new situations. Entrepreneurs thrive on creating disruptions and bringing about change. Entrepreneurs also use innovative offerings and business models to disrupt niche markets. Being a small startup allows for speed and flexibility, which are essential to market disruption. Therefore, startups are often attractive and more likely to be acquired by larger corporations. The exit on or sellout and process is the final entrepreneurship stage and one of the most critical negotiation phases. Having a negotiation plan is critical. In fact, some people suggest you should plan your exit from day one. To negotiate effectively, one must balance being present and relying on structure. Negotiators face tense, dramatic situations that are often unexpected, so the ability to adapt quickly to any scenario is a plus for business people. A startup's progress may be unpredictable, but it's possible to envision how key performance indicators will turn out. Founders will get the best results if they pay keen attention to happenings around them while having a clear roadmap for where they're going. Did you know? A 2015 MIT report suggested that MIT alumni had already founded 30,000 companies. Entrepreneurship involves taking risks, breaking new grounds, and attempting things that no one has tried before. Whether new or experienced, business leaders must be prepared to take risks if they want to make things happen. In a sense, entrepreneurship is all about questioning the status quo and looking for ways to do things better and more efficiently. The combination of risks involved in founding a business requires increased negotiation abilities. You also must learn to analyze risks because not all tempting ventures will be worth it. This is where the power of decisions comes into play. Let's consider some of the vital decision-making stages that most entrepreneurs find difficult to handle. To be or not to be. This is the initial step where one decides to pursue entrepreneurship. Licensing idée. The stage where founders negotiate for the intellectual property they intend to use. Licensing starts with determining if the property is what you need right now. As a startup, you want to avoid unnecessary deals as much as possible. Co-founder agreement. Here, the entrepreneur decides if they need a co-founder. Most people do, in which case the founder will need to work out a deal with the person they're bringing on board. An entrepreneur may not have the skills essential for proper decision-making at the beginning of founding a company. So understand how to prevent a negotiation failure and recover after one occurs. Entrepreneurs also make the mistake of using the experience of one negotiation when executing another. But even though events appear similar, they're almost always different and require fresh thinking. As we end this chapter, remember that you don't know it all, so learn to assess your strengths and weaknesses. After identifying these, you have two options. Either work on those weaknesses or outsource them and focus on your strengths. Did you know? According to reports from Forbes and Bloomberg, most startups don't exist longer than 2 years. When preparing for negotiations, take note of your core values, preferences, and priorities, and be careful not to sacrifice these on the negotiation table. Entrepreneurs also need to be big on following up after each negotiation. Anyone who does these properly can prevent unnecessary mistakes and is also armed to respond appropriately when unforeseen errors occur. Good preparation involves anticipating what the other party will want to sell you on. Try to leave no room for assumption. Do your due diligence. Research the party in and out. If possible, go over some deals they've made with other entrepreneurs in the past. All these will fill your mind with creative ideas for the negotiation process. One more thing, check that you've made all necessary moves before the D-Day. For instance, you don't want to be stuttering about your market projections when an angel asks you about it. Successful negotiations start long before you even meet the other party. Here's a tip that you might not like. Begin each negotiation expecting the worst. Sometimes deals will go sour simply because both parties aren't a good fit. So don't try to force it if situations like that occur. One mistake will not cause you to crash. Only a chain of mistakes will do. Savvy entrepreneurs reflect on their performance after each negotiation because the goal is constant improvement. So even when you win the deal, still reflect on what you did right or wrong. That way, you increase your odds of future success. Gender bias is a challenge entrepreneurs need to overcome in most societies. People will almost always judge you by your gender and ethnicity. In most cases, their assumptions are wrong, but don't even give them a chance. One way out is to go through an agent who does the negotiating for you. When you sense bias, get an experienced agent who fits into the preferred prejudice and make them your ally. If you don't take proper care, what makes you successful can also get you in trouble. For example, action and decisiveness are keys to success, but they can eventually lead you to make wrong decisions when done without proper knowledge or preparation. So, invest heavily in continuous education to improve your skills and avoid mistakes. You can work on several things by yourself. However, developing negotiation skills often requires interactions with others, such as a group or colleague. Negotiation skills are applicable in all spheres of life. Improving your negotiation skills comes with practice and experience. Seeing things from different perspectives can also be helpful for problem solving. As a founder of a new startup, always try to put yourself in the customer's shoes to experience their interests and priorities. Try keeping a diary to become better at emotional awareness and get more control of yourself. Use it to reflect on how you handled challenges and made important decisions. Understanding process management and how a process runs is also a key precursor of successful negotiation. The negotiation process is as important as the people and the problems that negotiators face. A good process design can significantly boost negotiation outcomes. You can volunteer to help others analyze their negotiations, to practice process management and design. The experience will deepen your understanding. Mediation is another way to improve your process design awareness. Mediation is a practice where a third party assists in the negotiation process by helping the principal parties resolve conflicts. You can offer to do this for people just to learn. Lastly, don't forget to keep developing your people skills. Train yourself to spot the right people, assign them the right tasks, and convince them to work in your startup. Did you know? You become more adept at something you're trying to learn when you teach it to others. It is clear from this summary that nearly every interaction that entrepreneurs face will test their negotiation experience. We've also established that entrepreneurs can prevent damage and respond to situations more appropriately by developing good negotiation skills. Learning to negotiate the right way arms you to detect mistakes before they happen and teaches you to recover from failed negotiations when they occur. As a business owner, realize that you're at the helm of affairs. Your business will only be successful to the degree that you're willing to take risks and be proactive in all you do. You'll constantly take strategic, compliance, operational, and reputational risks. So it helps to surround yourself with people you can run your ideas through. This could be anyone from a co-founder to a board of directors. When you have an upcoming negotiation, take the time to prepare. Research the other party and learn what makes them tick. Visualize the terms you think they will bring on board and match them against your core values. That last part is critical. If you don't know your values and stick by them, you'll always make negotiation mistakes. You may want to offer parts of your company to investors in exchange for funding. In such situations, proper discussions and negotiations should be made between both parties to avoid potential problems. Note that deciding to receive investor funds means you now have someone or a set of people you're answerable to, which can be a curse or a blessing.